stories glow. Palm lantern ignite, where the tales will flow. Whispers of the night, under moonlit skies. Every word so bright, in your mind it lies. Palm lantern light guides you through the night. Every tale in sight makes your heart ignite.
Grace visited Joy at her house, and they had dinner together. Joy kept talking about how beautiful her marriage was. Grace sighed and complained about how her husband had forgotten their marriage anniversary. Joy bragged to Grace, "My husband will never do that to me. My husband buys me flowers, takes me out on dates every Saturday, and even massages me to sleep." Grace strongly desired Joy's blissful marriage. Why couldn't her husband be like that? Why was he no longer romantic? He never took her on a date, nor did he massage her. All he did was work, work, and work. Grace got up to leave. When Grace left Joy's house, Joy quickly went to her room to change, then did the dishes before her husband came home. She prepared dinner and cleaned the house. She waited and waited. Finally, her husband arrived. She greeted him, but James did not even acknowledge her. She continued speaking as if this wasn't a usual occurrence. Her husband always ignored her. "I made dinner for you." Feeling unbothered, James replied, "I already had dinner." "Why? I was waiting for you to come back from work so we could eat together." Still not paying attention to her. He said, "I have already eaten." "Joy, I am not in the mood for any nonsense this evening. I just want to sleep in peace tonight, please." But Joy continued, "My husband, what have I done to deserve this? I have always been a good housewife, but you don't even acknowledge that." Feeling frustrated, James grabbed his wallet and was about to walk out the door when Joy ran after him. "My husband, I am sorry. It won't happen again." But James was fed up. He pushed his wife so hard that she fell to the floor with a loud thud. He didn't even bother to look back as he walked out, got into his car, and drove off. All Joy could do was cry silently. She had nobody to call because she kept lying to people that she was in a happy marriage. She picked herself up, went to her bedroom, and cried herself to sleep. James did not return home for 3 days. Joy kept calling him, but he didn't return her calls. Her friends had planned a trip, but she didn't want to go because of her injury from the fall. She knew they would be upset if she refused. Grace was sitting in the living room when her husband, Austin, came in. "Hey baby," Austin said. Grace did not respond. She was sulking. "Babe, is everything okay?" Austin asked. "I am tired of this marriage," Grace said. "Where is all this coming from?" Austin asked, shocked at Grace's outburst. "You don't take me out on dates or buy me anything. You are so busy that you didn't even remember our anniversary the last time." Austin was speechless. "Babe, you know that things were not like this before. I only became very busy this year because I started my company. Why can't you just be patient, dear Grace?" Austin asked. "I understand, but I miss us. You needed to see the new dresses that Joy's husband got her." "Oh, I see. Is this what this is about? You of all people should know that you should never compare our marriage with others." "We are different," Austin said, feeling disappointed. Grace apologized, and they hugged it out. The next day, Joy and Grace arrived in Ghana from Nigeria. Joy pretended to be happy, but deep down, she was sad. The trip was fun. They went to different restaurants, sightseeing, and more. On the last day of the trip, they decided to stay indoors and relax before the long trip back home. They started talking about their husbands. Joy was the first to speak. "Guys, I can't even ask for a better husband. Can you imagine? My husband tattooed my name on his body." Everyone was shocked. She pulled out her phone and showed them a picture of a man's arm she found on Instagram. Her friends were thrilled. "Joy, this your marriage, sweet O." You are the lucky one of them said. Feeling full of herself, Joy continued basking in their praises. He won't even let me sleep when we are together. He can't get enough of me. Everyone laughed. One of her friends said, I wish mine was like that, but he is always saying he is tired because of work. Joy, tell us your secret. Joy giggled. He said he wants to buy me a new car too. I told him, honey, the one I have now is fine, but he won't listen. Her friends cheered for her. The next day, they returned home. When Joy arrived, she found her husband at home, working on his laptop. My husband, you're home. Can't you see me? What kind of useless question is that? He snapped. I'm sorry, my husband, she said softly. Before she could continue, he asked, why did you spend $500 from our joint account? My husband, my friends, and I went on a trip, and I had to pay for food, the hotel, and more. But guess what? I bought you a gift too. I know you'll like this tie. Before she could finish, James gave her a hard slap, making her fall to the floor. Ah, Joy shouted. Before she could register what was happening, he continued beating her. When he was done, he warned her, if you ever try anything like that again, you will receive more. Joy cried all day but still did nothing, keeping up the image of a happy home and making people jealous was more important than her own life. The next morning, she woke up to see her husband preparing breakfast. I'm sorry, my love. I was just angry that you did that without my permission. I promise I won't do this again. But this wasn't the first time James had done this. He always beat her and then apologized. He was the CEO of a big financial company, and if word got out that he abused his wife, he would be stripped of his position. With a big smile on her face, she forgave him. Get dressed, he said. I want to take you out. At the mall, they were selecting a gold necklace when a young woman approached. Chief, why haven't you been picking your calls? You said you would meet me at the hotel last week, but you disappeared. And who is this? Your sister. She looks old. James quickly responded, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong person. The girl smirked. Not Ike calling himself the wrong person after spending the nights with me for a week. Last month. Please, Ike, stop playing with me. Immediately, James ordered security to take her away. Who was that lady? Joy asked as they left. I don't know her. But she called you by your middle name, which only a few people know. I'm famous. People check me online. Joy, don't worry about that, okay? Don't let it ruin our night. She agreed, and they went home. The next morning, James was gone. He had left early for work. Deep down, Joy knew he was lying, but she convinced herself she would never leave him. Months passed and her marriage got worse. James was rarely home, but she continued her lies. However, something was wrong. She was getting very sick. Even her friends noticed she was losing weight. Finally, they convinced her to see a doctor. After running tests, the doctor called her into the office. She almost fainted when she found out that she had contracted HIV/AIDS in anger. She drove to her husband's office without thinking. She hadn't slept with any other man except her husband. His secretary tried to prevent her from going into his office, but she forced her way through. She wasn't shocked to find James sleeping with the young girl from the mall. I thought you said you didn't know her, Joy asked irritatedly. I can explain. James stammered. Explain what? I devoted my life to you, and this is how you repay me. You gave me HIV. You didn't even think to wear protection. Immediately the young girl heard HIV. She hurriedly dressed up and ran out of the office. James laughed. Joy, you caused this. You knew, she gasped. Of course I knew, but you wanted to be in this marriage no matter what, so it's not my fault. Even when I beat you, you stayed. Joy couldn't believe her ears. In anger, she grabbed the chair nearby and smashed it over his head, and stormed out of his office. She went to a contraband market and bought a gun. When she got home, she brought out her laptop and she started typing away. She wrote to her mother, siblings, and friends, revealing every truth she had hidden. She told them that her marriage was far from perfect. She made up those lies to ease her pain. She told everyone that her husband was a monster, who continually cheated on her and abused her physically. The last straw was when he infected her with HIV. She told them that by the time they got this letter, she and James would be dead. After that, she went inside to light a cigarette for the first time. She had always wanted to know how it felt to smoke, but she was very health conscious. Now that her life had been taken away from her by James, she was ready to throw caution to the wind. That night, James arrived. He was shocked to see Grace with a gun. "Baby, I'm sorry. Please, don't shoot me. Please forgive me. HIV is not the end of the world. Nobody has to know. People live healthily with it." "What did I not do as your wife, James? I gave up my career for you. My inheritance from my late father started your financial company. What did I lack as a wife that you couldn't stop pursuing in other women? I worshipped the floor you walked on. You made me abort my babies, saying you were not ready only to father a child outside. You do not deserve anything good, James," Joy cried with the gun pointing at him. "Baby, I am sorry," James said, walking slowly towards Joy. "Don't take an inch closer. You are only sorry because you know that your end is here. I curse the day that I met you. James, you are evil." As James moved closer, Joy pulled the trigger. Without thinking, she shot him 5 times, making sure he died. She wept on his body. She thought about her family and friends, ashamed of her lies and deceit. She then pointed the gun at herself and pulled the trigger. The next morning, the news reported, "Today, we are reporting live from the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, where both were found dead. Sources say the husband was cheating and gave his wife HIV. We will update as details unfold." Her family and friends received her final letter. Though she had lied, they still loved her. But it was too late. She was gone forever, leaving only painful memories behind.
Underneath the stars